Hello everyone. Right now we are already broadcasting, so let me make way to make the opening remarks and also introduce the welcoming speaker. But before that, hello everybody. Good morning and welcome to the SME Unplugged 100 Go Digital series brought to you by MDEC and WordLabs Business Network. This is the time we were already looking for the sound effect of clap, 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 clap. Now, so those who are already logged on to us, just please put a comment saying hello, hi, good morning. That would really comfort me because, used to speaking with so many people and suddenly, getting into the camera, there you go. Thank you so much. That's really comforting. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Now this is our third episode of the 6th, which has been online until 2nd of June. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Balidalam, and I've been a professional MC almost 10 years, hosting professional, formal, dry type of event until the crazy ones as well. But before we begin, on behalf of MDEC and WordLabs Business Network, to my Muslim friends, Selamat Berpuasa, and to everyone at home, I do pray that you and your loved ones are safe and sound. Now, part 3 episode, we are going to speak about cash flow, money, Scrooge McDuck, the greenback boogie. Yes, but as before, I would just like to reflect on the previous 2 episodes where we spoke about digital transformation and digital marketing. But right now, how do we ease on the cash flow? Today, that's going to be the topic. All the topics we'll be discussing around cash flow management. Now, but before we actually go to that and more, what is the SME Unplugged 100 Go Digital? In tandem with 100 Go Digital initiative by Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation, or better known as MDEC, sorry about that, together with WordLabs Business Network, are hosting a series of essential discussions for SMEs to evolve, rebound during and post-COVID-19 situation. Now, let me introduce MDEC and WordLabs Business Network. MDEC, established in 1996, is the government's response to the new concept of digital economy. MDEC continues its role to increase the awareness in the digital industry. And you may or may not know, MDEC launched an initiative called 100 Go Digital. Now, what is 100 Go Digital? It is to enable traditional Malaysian business in key sectors to move towards digitalization. To get more updates or knowledge on this and events, SMEs can register and be part of the 100 Go Digital community. You can easily access via Facebook. There will be a link posted on the chat as we speak right now. Now, WordLabs Business Network's function is to assist business organizations to adapt and grow in an increasingly uncertain and volatile world. The outfit looks into the subject of globalization and digital transformation through content development across multiple media platforms and events. Now, before we proceed to our welcoming speech, a brief housekeeping note before we get started. To all participants, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box at the Q&A tab. You can actually find the Q&A tab at the bottom, and I think it should be more towards the right. And we will also cover those questions. If we do not have time, we will pick up the top 3. You can actually upvote those questions. There will be a thumb. You can actually upvote that and you can upvote. Just click on a thumb, just spam on the thumb if you think that question is relevant to you or it's very important to be addressed by the speaker at the end of his presentation. So please vote. And also there will be 2 polls, one during the mid-section and one at the final lap. So your attention, your experience, your knowledge is vital in improving our work through this web series. Also a friendly request, this series is designed to generate ideas, to learn and to actually gain knowledge. So let's not use this platform to spam the chat content which is not relevant. Just a simple example, last week we were actually having an event discussion where people were started to post about water pump. If you want water pump, you actually please click on that. So it doesn't make sense, it doesn't add any value to it. So please just focus on to this session over here as we are going to share so much of interesting and also knowledgeable content by our speakers and our panelists. Today, we have 3 segments, as I already mentioned earlier, 1 speaker session, 1 panel discussion, and 1 clinic segment. Now, let's begin the 3rd episode of SME Unplugged 100 Go Digital, brought to you by MDEC and WordLab, by the welcoming remark founder and CEO of WordLab's Business Network, Mr. Sridharan Velasamy. Sri, take it away.
Bali, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So good morning and welcome to part 3 of our SME Unplugged series, right? Today we will focus on, as Bali said, financial and cash flow matters in this virtual event. So the earlier 2 events that we had looked into digital transformation and digital marketing for SMEs. So the recordings of both the earlier events, is if you did not attend the last 2 events, the recordings are still available in our WordLabs Business Network Facebook page. Our team can also pass the link of these past recordings in the chat box later. So throughout these 3 weeks, 6 weeks, right, from April 28 to 2nd of June, we will look into SME related content and organize actionable clinics through this SME Unplugged series. While the main flavor of the series will still be digital transformation and adoption, we will look into many aspects of business and get the gathered thought leaders and speakers to discuss on the way forward for SMEs and micro businesses. Going digital was already a compulsory, right, and a challenge for many businesses even before this COVID-19 crisis. And this crisis have created a perfect storm for business owners to grapple with. So now we are basically doing the balancing act of digital transformation and also facing business survival issues in the short term. So it's a juggling act of reinventing the business to stay relevant, and also more importantly now is staying alive to sail through this major crisis unscathed. So basically there is no future to talk about if the current continuity issues are not tackled. So mostly SMEs today are now concerned with how to conserve cash and how to stay afloat. So cash flow is the need of the hour, and hence the overarching theme of today's webinar. Cash is king, and now more than ever is needed for survival. There are slightly over 1 million SMEs in Malaysia. That includes micro companies with employment size of nearly 10 million, 9.8 million people. So clearly SME survival here is vital in maintaining certain level of job market coherence in Malaysia. SME Association of Malaysia is estimating up to about 200,000 to 300,000 people, basically 200,000 to 300,000 SMEs or businesses, basically up to 30% of total number of SMEs we have in Malaysia will collapse over the next 1 year. That's the prediction. So that has a trickle-down effect, and that could result in 2 million people becoming jobless in this country. In the same survey, only 36% of SMEs have enough cash flow to last until the end of May, which is this month. Only 21% will last, have said that they can last until the end of June, and mere 17% could last after July. So most SMEs now have cut back on many non-essential expenditures, decreased fixed costs, as well as evaluating their own staffing levels. Other fixed costs that are being looked into based on our observations are leases for vehicles, equipment, offices, and others. For some, there is a chance to, of course, renegotiate payment terms if they are lucky, terms and timings. For example, a landlord would prefer a tenant paying 70% or 75% of the rent than a bankrupt company owing 100%. So in short to medium term, SMEs can also identify fixed overhead costs that can be outsourced to a certain extent. So this may decrease cash outflows, as companies will only pay on per use basis, right? So besides, it is important for businesses to separate their focus from the crisis anxiety and reevaluate their value proposition and also business models. Maybe it's true that some SMEs, given their line of business, maybe B2C, business to consumer, right? Food and also digital business are less impacted in this crisis, or maybe even in some cases, they are seeing higher profits. However, it is still important to revise and redo the old plans and create new ones as well. We can do so by researching the change in the market demand, identifying the changes in consumer behavior, as well as possible gaps and opportunities to leverage and benefit from. So it is vital, very important to get timely information and also access to thought leadership in this situation. And hence, we have gathered here a great list of speakers to help you with this. For the first timers to this webinar series, as an introduction, the objective of this event series is to provide quality information, first of all, and insights for micro businesses and SMEs during this crisis. World Labs Business Network and MDEC would like to make this series as an outlet to measure the pulse of SME businesses and hopefully shape future content and future initiatives accordingly. We are also generating content from these virtual events, so it's not just a webinar and it ends. So we are generating content and through the event and to reach to a larger audience through all our media platform post-event. This is our way of ensuring that knowledge sharing does not just end with this webinar, but also captured and retained for others to consume. So, and the sessions will have a direct approach in getting SMEs to get connected to the right platform in order for these sessions to be more effective for them, right? So today we also have actionable clinic at the end of this webinar. So we have a speaking slot and then a roundtable, and after that an actionable clinic to be conducted by UOB, United Overseas Bank, on its smart business solutions and also its JOM Transform program. So be part of these sessions, be active during the polls, that's important, and also do send your questions and share your thoughts so that they can be useful for enablers like MDEC in going forward. And please do take the time to fill up the survey form that will be sent to you after each session of this series. And lastly, as Bali said, please keep our chat box for greetings and knowledge sharing and not spamming. And thank you, enjoy the sessions, stay safe and stay in business. Over to you, MC.
Thank you, Sri. Thank you. I've been getting some comments that you are very serious today. So please smile. And please smile. Thank you, Sri. Thank you.
It has to be consistent with the team, MC.
Yeah. Money.
Cash flows, right? Cash flow issues.
Money, cash flow. Scrooge McDuck. I call money Scrooge McDuck anyways. But anyways, thank you, Sri. Thank you so much for the insight. And yes, I really like that concept of Sri touched that point where, you know, he wanted to actually start this during the MCO and also continue this after post COVID-19. So this is really an effort which I would acknowledge and thank the entire team. So right now, without wasting any more time, let's head to our first speaker for today, Muhammad Sofyan Zubair, Vice President, Deposit and Payment, BSN. Sofyan has started his career with banking industry in 2002. With over 18 years experience in the banking industry, he knows his grounds, particularly in the deposit cards payment and digital banking area as well. He had successfully introduced multiple impactful BSN card products through his career, regardless for consumer or corporate segment. Over to you, Sofyan.
Hi, thanks. Hi guys, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. It's an honor to speak with you all today, especially in supporting the transformation SMEs to the digital platform. For your information, MOF has provided a grant called SME Digitalization Initiative. We have been launched with the objective to assist all the SMEs to adopt digitalization in their business operation. BSN and SME Bank is a channel for all SMEs to apply for this grant, while MDEC is considered is an IT consultant in advising the committee, especially BSN, SME Bank, and MOF towards this platform. Okay, under this program,
Sorry, just 1 second. Just jumping in. Sofian, is that a way you can actually make it make your slide a little bigger?
Can we bigger?
The screen. The screen. Oh no. This is. Lama. Okay, well, because I think the view of the screen. Let me just go full screen. It's still in that view.
Oh, you cannot. Okay.
Can you maximize the slide? Okay.
Okay. I try log out back. I try logging. I try.
All right.
Okay.
No.
Stay the first page.
Okay, can we have, Jamie, if you have the slide, could you actually just share the screen? So, you know, we can actually, Sofian, you can actually look at the screen and then after just tell Jamie to flip through the slides. I think there's some technical. Jamie, could you share your screen, please, with the slide? Double click to enter full screen mode. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Yes, we continue. All can see? Okay.
Okay, under this grant, all the SMEs are eligible to apply for this grant. Okay, up to 3 digital service, regardless of any technologies providers. Okay, for your information, all the lists are for this TSP. You can go to any of our website, BSN or SME Bank. You can get all the information related or list of the company there. Okay, under this grant, MOF and the committees have agreed. For the time being, we have 5 types of digitalization services that we offer. First, on the electronic point of sale, consider EPOS, human resource, payroll system, or customer relationship management, digital marketing or sale, procurement, enterprise resource planning, accounting, and taxation. Okay, guys, at present, digital era offers the SMEs digital solution where they can use to improve their performance and remain competitive in fast-moving, digitalized, and global economy, in which customers are connected at all times and expect seamless digital interaction that accessible and responsive. This digital platform offers the services and marketplace that businesses use for marketing and communicating with your customer, managing all the internal processing that cater for the pillar like operation on HR, accounting, and also cater for the marketing and the payment side. Through this technology, small business is able to connect with their customer through all the platform. The owner can take advantage using this solution by connecting back and applying for their business immediate. Through using this software also will assist the SMEs in reducing costs and improve customer service. Many different elements have contributed to business growth. This part of the providing good level of customer service, minimizing operational costs and maximize revenue. Technology also can help the business to achieve all these objectives. With technology rapid evolving and covering, these are stronger urgency for SMEs to leverage new development to enhance efficiency and increase productivity to better compete and grow moving forward. For example, you're right now using all the manual, using through this initiative that proposed by the government, you can transform from the everything manual to the digitalization and also can cater for this current MCO situation. Therefore, the Malaysian government has working with encouraged with SME to be part of the national innovation system via various program and platform. Sufficient grant have been provided for the adoption of new technology, human capital development, promotion of entrepreneurship and innovation. If SME are aware how important digitalization to their business, they tend to use digital and observe how this affects their business performance. SMEs with advanced use of digital solution more likely to experience customer growth than their less digitalized peers. Business with higher level of engagement are more likely to have a growing customer base and more access to customers in Malaysia and globally. A better financial performance and more employment growth. On innovation, SME should believe this digital solution have fostered innovation in their business, particularly in entering new market and communicating with customers. SMEs with more advanced of use digitalization will go more further, especially in marketing and promotion your product, including on the awareness part. For example, if SME use this digital solution, the proposed solution to support their day-to-day activities, it will help SMEs to communicate more efficiently and reach customer more easier. Based on survey, there are product and services use their own website and social media have shown the positive response and positive feedback from the customers. As SME can advise on their digital journey, also to give a great impact if the key barriers are addressed. Given the positive effects digital solution have on business performance, it no surprise SME have planned to increase digital tool use in the future. Although a third are looking into the next 2 or 10 years or 5 years from now. Having a clear approach for testing and using digital solution is important to remain competitive, particularly when SMEs tend to face digital barriers. This solution, such as social media, cloud services, online payment, online marketplace, or all the other solution for SMEs is basically to assist you to reach the broad customer base and scale up. Therefore, through this grant, we are encourage all the SMEs, the eligible SMEs, to apply for this digital grant. Don't worry about the money is still there. For the mention, you can go straight away to our BSN website. Okay. Basically, this second slide on the microfinance. Okay. This basically is our loan offered by the BSN to the business owner. They got conventional and Islamic concept for this microfinance. For right now, the loan we offer for microfinance is between 5,000 up to 50,000. Financing period up to 5 years. Sector cater right now is manufacturing, services, retail, and wholesale only. Okay. Rate we offer is as shown is around 6.38 and above based on the credit evaluation by our respective company. Basically, these are all the is related to the SMEs for the SMEs to apply. If you have any question, you can ask using the Q&A. I will try to answer. Okay, thank you.
Questions, and Sofian, I would love to see your handsome face, my friend. Just share your screen, please. Okay, there you go.
You can see it, right? Okay.
Yes. Handsome. All right. So, question number 1: how long does the approval takes to approve the SME loan? I mean, how long is the approval?
Okay, for this processing, once you submit the complete document, including all the invoice from the technology provider, we will take at least 15 working days. There were 15 working days is agreed by the committee. After that, once you have approved you have made the 50% upfront, the remaining 50% we will pay to the TSP another 5 working days. Meaning after that, you can the SMEs can enjoy the system from the TSP.
Okay. Now, when you ask me anything about the banking terms, I would say I'm probably like in the preschool when it comes to banking terms. So I do not understand. I think a couple of the guys as well do not understand the definition of TSP. What is a TSP, and can you provide a list of TSP or link to download it as well?
Sure. Okay. For your question, TSP is Technology Supervisor. Under this program, TSP is the vendor. They provide all this the solution under this program. They have more than 150 TSPs consider technology provider. They are providing this system. They can go to our website or SME website under SME Digitalization Initiative. In there, you can see all the list is provided. You can call, you can choose any of your preferred TSP.
So now, just to confirm, Sofian, the BSN offer is 5,000 grant of one-off per company. I mean, plus possibly a loan. Under 100K for pre-approved clients. Is this correct? Just to actually confirm that. That's what you said.
Okay. Under this grant, for example, it's a matching grant. We offer only per company. Okay, for example, you have 2 companies, so meaning two company that meet this criteria. For example, meet the criteria, the turnover is more than 100,000, and is more than the maturity is more than 1 year. They can apply for this grant. For example, the first company, the solution that support the first company cater only for 7,000. So what you need to pay the different 3,500. The different government will pay using the grant. It's a grant, totally it's a free money. Don't worry, you can apply. It's not like normal grant, normal loan. They will check here and there. It's a very straightforward. So meaning the second company, for example, the system is 5,000. So the BSN will pay the different 2,500. Unless you go for the system 10,000, the combination among the 3 companies 10,000. You need to fork up your own money, 5,000. The difference will pay by the government through BSN or SME Bank.
Okay, so now from the link you mentioned on the technology solution provider, be it SME and stuff like that, where the link which you said to actually refer to, does that also covers the qualifications or criteria to apply?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, to those who are posting a question on the qualification for the TSP, thank you to some of them who actually have mentioned that TSP is called Technology Solution Provider. Thank you. Right, because for me, ABCD is sometimes can be many things, right? So TSP, Technology Solution Provider. Okay. So you still can apply. The application is still online. Is it still valid to apply right now?
Yes, it's valid. Don't worry, if you go to our website, okay, you can submit the application using online. We already published 13 email address. If you come, for example, from Kota Baru, Kelantan, you can submit your application straight away to the email in SME Bank, SME Microfinance BSN Kota Baru. So BSN in Kota Baru will assist respective SMEs.
Okay, so the entire the list and all those things, I believe, has already been shared with the link in the chat. So if you wanted to actually check the chat group, so you can actually see the links over there. I believe there's more than adequate amount of the links have been shared to you guys. So if you want to go and check it out, and to those who actually have questions that can we actually get the slide, yes, we will provide you the slide pack after the entire episode is over. If your email is registered, we will send that slide to you. Now, if there's any other questions to Sofian, you can post it out right now in the Q&A segment. We have still about 5 to 10 minutes to take any questions. Okay, we're having questions right now. Okay, one question comes in, any case study from BSN? If I would like to elaborate further on this question on case study from BSN, have you made any case study with regards to all these, those who have approved, I mean, they are approved or not approved, Is there any case study in place at the moment?
Yes, we are doing the case study. Hopefully soon we will publish the case study, not only to using for the internal use of among the committee. We will use some. We will advertise all to the public using the link using the MDEC, BSN, and the SME website. We'll share all the videos based on their experience using this platform.
Okay. Now, if one have like about 3 companies, some of them, they are very smart, so they have 3 companies rather than 1. I have 1. So should should the person who has 3 companies apply for 1 application or each application for each company? I mean,
to us, the grant is entitled not based on the individual, it's entitled based on the company. For example, that guy own up to 3 companies. The 3 companies is meet the criteria, the framework. It's no issue. They can apply.
Okay, that's one. Okay, cool. Any other question, guys? Any other questions? I believe I am answering quite a lot of questions. We're covering quite a lot of ground about this. And this is obviously only limited to Malaysian companies, I believe.
Minimum 60% is owned by Malaysian.
Okay. So Malaysian companies, 60% owned by Malaysians. Okay, thank you. Now I would like to also put it out on, the statement over here that this entire effort is in partnership of MDEC and BSN. Yeah. So when did this entire initiative started, Sophian?
Basically, this initiative is approved under the package Rancangan Ekonomi 2020. Okay, officially announced and launched to public in February. So meaning start of February, all the SMEs can start apply for this program. We have educated towards all platforms, especially involve the association and the organization under the SMEs.
Okay. All right, cool. Any other question, guys? I would like to say that, I would like to go on record by saying that, okay, first and foremost, you did the most fastest and the most quickest presentation, yeah, from the speaker sessions which we have over the past 3 episodes. And you have got barrages of questions. That means so many questions are coming in through for you, Sophian. So congratulations. You actually stirred up quite a discussion today, because obviously this discussion is very important because it's money. And if there is no other questions, I would like to say thank you to Mohammad Sophian Zubair, Vice President Deposit and Payment from BSN. And also, guys, I would like to also, give all the acknowledgement and my, highest regards to MDEC as well for being partners in this initiative. Thank you so much, MDEC. And that was the speaker session. I believe all those questions have been covered. And the most important one was the slide pack will be shared after the episode. Now we're going to move on to a quick poll before the panel discussion. So let's go to the poll. Cash flow issues, given the sustainability challenges you have due to COVID-19 and MCO, how confident are you that the business will return to normal? What are the key challenges for SME post-COVID? Third question, which of these fundings options are easier to access? What do you like about the economic stimulus package? And the last one, what are some of your cash flow problems? I got a lot of problems. So I'm going to, pretty much a lot. So I'm going to give a minute for you guys to fill up the answers to the poll regarding cash flow? Okay, so for those who just joined us, be it from Zoom or Facebook Live, good morning and welcome to SME Unplugged 100 Go Digital series brought to you by MDEC and WordLabs Business Network. And we have just completed the poll segment on questions around cash flow area. And right now, we are moving on. We're going to switch our frequencies from speaker to panel FM. Remember, for any questions, do not forget, do not hesitate to click on the Q&A tab and type your questions over there, because it's very hard and difficult for me to manage the chat and also the Q&A tab. So let's introduce our panelists for this episode. First and foremost, Nurhizam Abdul Kadir, VP FinTech and Islamic Digital Economy, MDEC. Nurhizam, or better known to his colleague as Hizam, brings with him 20 years experience in multi-market technology and energy industries in various markets across Asia Pacific. He was with Intel, Microsoft, Ballard Power System before joining MDEC as Vice President in 2015. He has wide experience in corporate marketing and customer sales, business development, communication, and channel marketing and enablement. Hizam, welcome down. Hi, Hizam. You can unmute yourself and show me yourself. Show me the handsome face line, Hizam. Good morning, Hizam.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hi.
Give me a second. I can't start my video somehow actually, because the host has stopped it. If you can, if you can enable it.
Okay, cool. And here, action. Yeah, there
okay,
you go.
that's me. Very different from my profile image, actually. Putting on weight over MCO.
It's the MCO effect. It's the MCO effect.
Yeah.
All right. Now let me go on to our second panelist, Elaine Lockman, co-founder and director, ATA Plus. Elaine is the co-founder and director in ATA Plus, a Malaysian licensed equity crowdfunding platform. She has served notable organizations such as Petronas, MDEC, DG, Telecommunications, and many more. She currently sits on the board of Western Union Payments Malaysia, president of the Registered Digital Markets Association Malaysia, and Berg 2019 Women's Icon Malaysia Award winner. Elaine, good morning and welcome. And moving on to the next, Ka Meng Wong, co-founder and chief executive officer, Funding Societies Malaysia. I'm very excited because I'm part of the team, the entire team of Funding Society Malaysia as well. And Ka Meng is pioneered peer-to-peer financing in Malaysia by setting up and launching Funding Societies operations in Malaysia, the first and largest regional P2P financing platform in Malaysia and Southeast Asia, having disbursed over RM 500 million for more than 1,000 unique SMEs in Malaysia. Good morning, Ka Meng.
Good morning.
I'm very excited. When I knew that you were coming, I was very, very excited. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And up next, we have Matthew Fernandez, COO, MicroLEAP. Matthew has been in the financial service industry for 10 years, specifically in financial planning and wealth management before he started with MicroLEAP. MicroLEAP is a peer-to-peer Islamic and conventional financing platform regulated by the Securities Commission Malaysia. Good morning, Matthew.
Morning, guys.
Okay, I see you and me, we share the same MCO problem of having a beard.
Yeah, it's for a good cause as well. It's going to Fire Grill and COVID-19 initiative. So it's a COVID beard, COVID-inspired beard.
Thank you. And welcome, Matthew. Welcome. And moderating this discussion is Chari TVT, business consultant, board member, and ex-GCFO at Axiata Group. Chari is a senior finance professional with over 39 years of experience in technology and telecom sector across Asia Pacific. He has overseen successful strategic transformation of the organizations and received external recognition for the highest profit and return of capital in the industry. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning. Thank you. Wonderful.
Take it. Now you can take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Milan. You know, the whole thing started off by saying cash is king. And for a finance professional like me, that's important. That's absolutely important. So we've been living and breathing with cash is king for a long time. So Sri kicked it off saying that cash is king. The second piece is around digitization. You know, the BSN gentleman, Sofian, went on saying that digitization is going to be important and critical. And for survival of any SME in the long run, I think it's absolutely important. And I'm glad that a lot of people are funding for digitalization. And I'll give you a few examples later at this point in time. But before I get into the panel, I just want to set the stage a little bit. SMEs, the SME segment plays a significant and pivotal role in any economy, whether it's an advanced economy or a developing economy or developed economy. I think it is playing a significant role. As far as Malaysia is concerned, SME segment plays about 35% of GDP, and literally 70% of the workforce is in that space. So imagine if any minor thing that happens into that space will have a severe impact on the economy as a whole and in the nation as a whole. But if I look at SMEs, the SMEs are a bunch of very hardworking, creative, frugal, and productive set of people. But they have a limited amount of funds and they literally live hand to mouth. I'm just saying most of them, not every one of them, but more hand to mouth. Unprecedented and surreal pandemic like this, size and complexity shakes the very foundation of SMEs and throws everything back to the drawing board. And it is tough for anybody. You know, I was in a BFM interview about 3-4 weeks back, and we just spoke the same thing, that if I am a leader of an SME organization, what do I do? You know? So we will cover that also moving forward. So essentially what is happening is this, that suddenly my revenue has come down substantially, sometimes to zero, sometimes 50%. The customers are not flowing in. I am still expected to pay salary, I'm expected to pay rental, I'm expected to pay utilities, I'm supposed to pay for my warehousing costs, manufacturing costs, I have to manage my working capital, and I have to do all this when a situation is such that the customers are not coming to your place to buy things. And so your revenue is by and large 0 or 50% or 30% of what it used to be, but your expenses are by and large remaining the same. Yes, there was a good economic stimulus package that was offered, totaling to about 260 billion, of which about 14.5 billion came to SMEs. There's a fair amount of unemployment that is happening, 650,000 people, 610,000 people, about 4.9%. Again, far less compared to the impact that we are seeing in the US and all that stuff. Again, the severity of this is very heavy. What I also read very recently in one of the press event is that literally, I mean, most of the SMEs that they interviewed said that, look, I won't be able to survive for more than 2 months, right? 68.9% of the population said that I'll have to dip into my savings and all that stuff. And so it is going to be difficult for us, but it doesn't mean that we won't get out of it. You know, entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs themselves, and there will be creative ways of coming out. And the whole purpose of this exercise, and talking to people like Matthew and Mr. Wong, Hisham and all that, and Lokman, for example, Elaine Lokman, the objective is to sort of find out what do we need to do moving forward, you know. And we will come out of this. I'm positive that yes, we will have pain for about 5 months or 6 months or 8 months or whatever, till we get the vaccine out. But I think as a group, we will come out much stronger. The fact that we will come out stronger is also demonstrated partly because of the fact that we've handled the pandemic fairly well in Malaysia. all said and done, like I get kudos from a lot of my friends outside of Malaysia to say that, look, you guys are handling it well. The Director General of Health is doing a super job in terms of just looking at the data, unemotional, very professional about handling the stuff. And we have flattened the curve, the number of deaths are very limited and all that stuff. So if I take the same analogy and put it back to the Malaysians will be resilient, Malaysians will be creative, Malaysians will come out even more successful compared to any other country that I can think of. So that's the kind of background that I want to give. And now I want to get into the panel. Now, before we talk about a specific offering, whether it is, a peer-to-peer or equity crowdfunding and all the stuff, which are alternative funding sources, initially what I want to get a feel from each one of you is if you're out there sitting, what do you think are the real problems that you're hearing from, and what are your general ideas in terms of how do you manage this situation? So why don't you start off with Hisham? Hisham from MDEC, why don't you give your views, and then we just talk to each one of you and find out your views also. So with that, Hisham, what are your thoughts?
Hi everyone. Good morning. Maybe I'll start with highlighting some challenges faced by the SMEs. As what Chari said earlier, these are all entrepreneurs, and somehow or rather, I like to use a Malay term called ikat perut. They have to go and ensure that the sustainability of the business will still continue to be prolonged, and they have to find ways on how they would be able to pivot in the current tough times. With the work that we've been doing around SMEs, in particular with micro SMEs, we've noticed that there are several challenges that they face, and it all really boils down to capacity building. Capacity building means the level of intellectual in competing in a market that can be quite saturated. Of course, there are a high number of SMEs available in Malaysia. And some of them may not even have proper business knowledge, the ability for them to plan the business, to keep their books well. I mean, they won't be able to afford Chari as a CFO, and doing their financial and business proposals. We believe that this lack in business knowledge in terms of planning their businesses well can somehow be overcome by the usage of digital. Hence, at MDEC, the push in terms of increasing digital adoptions among SMEs. Just now, Encik Sufian shared the SME Business Digitalizations Program that we work closely with BSN, would then help to increase productivity and efficiency. And even more right now, being able to help them to pivot their business better. SMEs are large, and the nature of SMEs range from machikia, I think that's the term popularized by our Prime Minister, all the way up to manufacturers that are medium size as well. If you were to take machikia as an example, someone whom you get your usual routine goreng pisang or coffee in the morning, some of these guys may not even understand that there is a digital marketplace that they would be able to onboard themselves onto. They literally do not have that knowledge because they are complacent to a certain extent, and they're just used to the way they've been doing their business for all these years. Hence, this machikia as an example, being able to pivot, and now it's the best time than ever actually, because if they don't pivot to digital, then they're not going to be able to survive at all. You mentioned earlier about sustainability, and then I was reading a report from Bank Negara that 58% of Malaysians are not even able to come up with 1,000 ringgit in emergencies. And I believe that 58% are coming from this micro SMEs and the B40s community. So with these challenges, I always feel that every challenges would have opportunities, right? They are always that silver lining that needs to be tapped onto. So for SMEs out there, while the government is providing a lot of packages, 260 billion, of which a large chunk of it are meant for SMEs, do take benefits from the government in helping you to go and pivot, and helping you to go and manage and sustain your cash flow better. But at the end of the day, this support from the government can't be sustainable. It will be one-off. Use that capital provided by the government through either grants or deferment or wage subsidy for you to pivot and embracing digital a lot more.
Very good. Isam, thank you for that. So it's all about digitization for us to be sustainable, for us to be productive and all that. I just want to give one example. This is interesting to me. And I do, now this is a company in Australia. When you fish, when you harvest a lobster, there is a blockchain code attached to it. And if I'm a customer in the US having it, I know exactly when was it harvested, where was it harvested. And for that transparency, people are willing to pay a huge amount of premium. It's not a big technology, it's not expensive and all this stuff, but small things like this will clearly know that, this has not been waiting in the storage for about 1.5 months. It is probably less than a week and I'm willing to pay a premium. Simple things like this. And the most of so-called traditional businesses can be moved to digitization. And just one more example I just want to give to support what you said. There's guard services, building guard services. Today, you've got about 20 people in the morning, 20 people in the afternoon. You've got about 40 people in each of the buildings. And imagine if I can provide an IPV camera in each one of them. I can probably cover about 10 or 20 buildings sitting in a van and using video analytics or whatever. As a result of which, the efficiency is much better. You use only about 20 people as against using 200 people. And when I take the story to the insurance company is also willing to give you some discounts because you're a lot more tech savvy in a way. So amazing, good examples, Hisham. Thank you very much for driving us to it. Why don't I move on to Elaine? Elaine, you have a tremendous amount of reputation in the marketplace. So what do you think? You know the market also fairly well. And you've worked in larger companies. You've also been in touch with the SME market. So what are your thoughts?
Well, hi, thank you, Chari, and thank you for inviting me to this panel session this morning. I think, I don't think it comes as a surprise to everyone. I think, and it's been talked about for the last few months, ever since the MCO started. And obviously, the component of the economy that's mostly hit is the SMEs and the SMIs. Yeah. And immediately, I think everyone's talking about the key thing would be cash flow, right? So, you're talking about a lot of the stimulus package as well as the different sorts of relief funds from the government, especially the debt side. But personally, and I by talking to the ecosystem players and also a large number of SMEs and SMIs, they are very fast to go in and submit the applications and documentation. But at the end of the day, is also the response from the custodians of the funds, right? And I want to come back to ADA Plus per se. And for us, how we've responded to that is we've actually relooked at our processing time frame. Previously, it was 15 working days to process an application for equity crowdfunding. And we've relooked at it and we've brought it down to 5 working days, subject to submission of complete documentation, So, that's number one. Number two is I think this should be something that should be looked at by also the financial institutions who are providing debt. What I understand is that there's 3 layers of process whereby the bank itself, the FI itself, and then it has to go to Bank Negara, and then it has to go to CGC because CGC guarantees 80%. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure whether any members of CGC is here. I don't think CGC has even opened a single application yet. That's what I heard. So I'm not sure how true that is. So if that is so, I think, you know, things needs to be move faster, because if the disbursement is only going to happen in 2-3 months time, by that time, a lot of SMEs would have closed down already, you know, or SMIs. So that is a very clear concern. Yeah, but for us, for ECF specifically, for equity crowdfunding, we are different from P2P, because P2P's, I think, turnaround time in terms of disbursements, you know, raising the money is quicker, much quicker. For equity is slightly longer, yeah. But what we can do as a registered market operator is we can look at our internal process. So we've sorted that out, you know. But having said that, it's a different ball game between equity and debt, P2P. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Elaine. Matthew, any comments at a 50,000 feet above the ground level in terms of your views around where the SMEs are today and what they need to do?
Yeah, sure. For me, I like to look on the push that we can use together with foundations. There are some foundations and government initiatives that we're sitting down with. We had a good meeting with SME Corp recently, and we've also helped done webinars with them. So I'm looking on the education side, and more importantly, the partnerships that we're looking to get. And that with these initiatives, that is immediate, or at least within the next couple of months, that's I'm hoping that will help with this, with all of us dealing with this COVID situation.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And Ms. Wong,
yeah.
Or should I call you Kameng?
Kameng, yes, Kameng.
Kameng is good. Okay. You're Mr. Consultant, Oliver Wyman man. So please.
Thanks everyone for joining the conversation today, and thank you for the kind introductions. So I think from our perspective is that the economic situation is obviously a very precarious one, and it's one that is quite unique. And having said that, it's probably not going to be the only one. And I think one of the big reasons for that is because of how connected the whole world is these days, right? And the reason why the whole virus situation or the health situation spread so quickly was because of how easily it was to travel across borders. And I think that was one of the key reasons. And this connectivity is probably going to persist going forward as well. So I think whilst this is going to be has been a fairly big economic event, and it's probably not going to be the first one, right, of its nature. Now, having said that, then it becomes an opportunity that we see to be a catalyst for the sort of digitization and the transformation that we've been observing for the past decade or so amongst businesses. And this becomes one of the key drivers that we see that will push the sort of adoption of those digital technologies and sort of transformation a lot quicker, right? And I think from that perspective, like Jari, what you was mentioning much earlier in the conversation, is that it becomes a situation where SMEs will become a lot more resilient coming out of this. They would have a better sense of where the vulnerabilities are, because, for example, now the supply chains, in terms of where they get their sort of materials, raw materials inventory, comes into question, right? So how are they going to sort of reorganize or restructure their supply chains going forward, so that in the event that something similar happens, how are they going to react? Likewise, also the cost of, or the incentive of digitization of their businesses becomes much greater. So for one, there is lack of a choice, because you do need to still operate, and you need to be innovative, and you need to be open-minded in terms of how you can still generate revenues whilst not being able to sort of operate at full scale physically. So that's one. The other one is also because in a situation like this, things usually get cheaper, right? So when you look at For example, some of the solutions that were presented by DSN earlier, most of those solutions are probably quite low cost. And this current environment is probably going to get even cheaper, right? Because I do think that even the software solution providers would want to sort of ensure that SMEs survive and provide the solutions in order to sort of build a long-term relationship with them. So I think from the perspective, we do expect this whole economic crisis or the health crisis to be the silver lining, to be whereby you see SMEs becoming more resilient from a supply chain, from a distribution chain perspective, as well as from a digitization perspective. And I think from where that stands from a sort of fintech or digital financing provider is that it becomes a lot more of enabler for this industry. So going forward, the expectation is then, are we able to sort of position ourselves, not just peer-to-peer financing, but also e-wallet providers, equity crowdfunding platforms, to be able to serve these SME sectors a lot more effectively. SMEs being more readily open-minded to explore all these alternative platforms and as such. So we do see that there is a lot of opportunities given the current crisis from our perspective.
Hisham, this is a question for you. We spoke about digitization everywhere. Whoever I speak to, the digitization topic comes up. And I know for a fact that MDEC is doing a lot of work. But do you probably bring all the SMEs into a room, or do you go and mentor them? And what are you actually helping them in terms of digitizing? I mean, there are multiple examples, good examples that I've seen in Malaysia and outside of Malaysia. But it'll be good to hear from you. This is a horse's mouth. From MDEC, what are you doing to help SMEs in terms of digitization, both in terms of technology, and in terms of financing, and in terms of hand-holding, like implementation and all that?
Sure. We are, MDEC is a developmental agency, so our role is to help develop. But we always feel that the philosophy in developing someone or developing a company, we always believe that when you give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, we would teach a man to fish, and then you would feed him for a lifetime. Our strategy have always been in looking into capacity building, supporting these SMEs in first changing their mindset, and then looking into various tools in terms of building their capacity, upskilling these SMEs, and eventually pivoting them to digital. It's always the government's task, actually, in MDEC, spearheading the digital economy to ensure that there is an equitable or even distributions of digital knowledge to ensure that there will be a nationwide inclusion. The work that we've been doing with SMEs, there are various platforms, actually, and I like to look at it from three categories, three segments. First one is to help these SMEs to sell online. There are various platforms like e-Usahawan, Go Commerce, where we have taught and engaged with more than 400,000 SMEs. And these SMEs, a lot of them, especially the micro SMEs, are generally in the B40 categories that need to embrace a new digital channel in order for them to do business even more right now, right? So from basic tools like creating social media presence, to having them to onboard onto e-commerce platforms, and later on introducing them to mobile payment, and eventually having them to export via the digital free credit zone platform. So that's crucial, and we've been doing a lot of great work, a lot of case studies as well in converting these SMEs and getting them to be selling online. Second pillar would be on adoption. Cik Sufian earlier mentioned about the SME business digitalization grant, and that's essentially about the focus on digital adoption. to us, it's not just about selling, but it's also how to ensure that your businesses remain resilient, how your business processes are efficient and productive. So with the introductions of the SME Business Digitalization Grant, which was approved in Budget 2020, this grant will help SMEs for them to be procuring services from the TSPs, the tech service providers, to get them to procure and adopt solutions such as sales tools, digital marketing tools, EPOS, HR, payrolls, CRM solutions, procurement, you name it. These are basic tools in order for companies, businesses, in order for them to survive and to sustain. And then, we realized that to do this, we need to have a more holistic digital economy initiatives, a program. Hence, we launched the 100 Go Digital Initiative to help to enable this these brick and mortar companies to move towards digitalization. This is where we also pivoted ourselves, because when we put together the plan early this year, it was very much road shows and going from state to state. And COVID came about and we had to go and pivot ourselves as well. And we have been doing a lot of changes to our marketing strategies. In fact, last week, we had a whole week e-Dagang Expo, which we would usually do it on a face-to-face setting. And it was a pleasant surprise. It was a pleasant surprise with more than 5,000 SMEs calling in, learning about how would they be able to increase adoption, digital adoptions, as well as learning tricks on how would they be able to adopt and migrate themselves into digital platforms. The third segment, which I think is a lot more appropriate for today's discussions, is with regards to financing. All right, and I'm glad that we have all these experts from peer-to-peer on this call. At the same time as well, I realized that there are other platforms, of course, apart from financial institutions, for you to be getting support. There's a lot of special relief facilities being offered by the government right now. But there are other digital financial inclusions. And we are very encouraged to see non-financial institutions getting onto the bandwagon as well in supporting the micro SMEs. The one that is most famous is probably peer-to-peers right now, although we feel that peer-to-peer and maybe perhaps something that we can work together in expanding and helping the country to drive financial inclusion, right? Getting into the tier 3 markets, tier 2 markets. How would we be able to help the micro SMEs in that markets as well to be adopting peer-to-peer, but at the same time as well creating awareness so that they know how would they be able to go about getting financial assistance. We've started noticing as well companies like Axiata, right, Chari? I'm sure they're familiar with that, with Aspirasi, helping micro SMEs. And we would love to see more corporates are playing that role as well in pivoting their business and looking into how would they be able to use digital financial inclusion instruments in driving financial inclusion among SMEs. It's very encouraging because all these guys, right, these digital financial inclusion instruments, P2P included as well, Aspirasi, the aggregators like Ringgit Plus and many others, iMoney, Aside, the differentiations between them and the financial inclusions are the usage of eKYC, the usage of data analytics. A lot of these SMEs, especially micro SMEs, do not have proper credit history. When you don't have proper credit history, it's very difficult for them to be obtaining loans from financial institutions, right? All that they need is probably 5,000 ringgit for them to go and pivot themselves. And these opportunities from digital financial inclusion instruments can certainly help to expedite that process, right? And I've been updated by the P2P companies, by Aspirasi, that the time to delivery as well is a lot faster, right? Not that it's transparent, right? Great that there's this whole blockchain, and a lot of you guys are adopting blockchains as well to manage traceability, but at the same time as well, time to delivery to customers through this eKYC process is done in a much more agile manner in order for you to deliver the financial assistance to the SMEs in a much more efficient way. So
Great.
we're encouraged. We would love to see more of these digital financial inclusions going to outside the tier 1 markets as well.
Thank you, Hisham. That was comprehensive. Now, now that Hisham talked about the last piece, he spoke about P2P. Now, if I'm an SME, I'm an entrepreneur, and I small especially, and I need some money. I've dipped my savings already. I don't have as much money. So tell me, Matthew, it would be good for us to understand the whole story around P2P. Not many people really understand it. And there was one quote that I heard even from Surina Sukri, who is the CEO of MDEC, who says that, look, not many people are aware of this. And so we need to probably propagate this to as many people as possible. And so this is where probably you will come in to say that, look, what do you do? What does it take for us to go and make an application? How can we get the money as quickly as possible? And what are the 4 or 5 things that you expect from an entrepreneur like me who wants to sort of take money from you? Also, if it's possible, then I'll ask the question later on with Elaine as to what is the difference between what you do and what Elaine does, so that people clearly understand as to when to go where, in a way. So, Matthew?
Yeah, sure. I'll just expand on what Hizam was rightly pointed out, because if you're talking mainly about MSMEs, then definitely credit scoring, and I guess in a way we have to look at alternative credit scoring and what we've done with our partnership, Global SciTech, because they look at the willingness of the MSME or a micro entrepreneur to of paying back the financing, rather than just dollars and cents and everything, because it's a psychometric testing they can do in English or BM, and that actually really helps us, because that takes we take that scoring into account when we do our assessment on top of our regular assessment anyway. And yeah, I mean, I think partnerships is another key way, because we are looking at eBerkat, which is with MDEC as well. This is I'm going on the MSME route for the moment, but another key way of how we're looking to help is the MTDC tech companies that we just got an MOU with them. So those are, I see, our best way of trying to help, within this next 6 months, because obviously in the fact that all P2P players actually and ECF players are online, we take away a lot of that heavy CAC or that heavy burden of trying to set up shop and have people come to you kind of thing all the time, because everything is, you can just do it from your phone. So all the requirements are there. We've streamlined it. We're going to get an app soon, so that hopefully will help on the onboarding process as well. So far it's been quite good. I mean, I think we are looking forward to, as I mentioned earlier, the link with the foundations and whatnot, because at least those are avenues that we can not only get the micro SMEs on board, but we also can get the funding. Because I think that's the thing about our side is we need to jaga hati of both sides. We have to take care of both and the issuer, So I think that's a very fine line to all of us, I feel. So hopefully this is something which I think is the same with all of our players. I think we really want to, we're looking forward to see what else we can do. And but we'll do as much as we can. And of course, the important thing is at least have your basic documentation ready. And if you need any hand holding, we're here. I think it would be fair to say, especially, I think Hizam mentioned a bit like how even MDEC are pivoting. I think even for us, and at least I would say for MicroLEAP, we'll pivot as well, because we also need to probably handhold people, hold their hands through this process, because I think there are quite a few which are like, okay, great, we know we can come to you, but how do we do it? And then we literally have to go step by step. I mean, if CMCO is lifted and some social distancing and onboarding at the office, that's fine. But we are open to helping any which way we can.
Right. Wonderful. Kamang, anything to add on to what Matthew said?
Yeah. So I think maybe just 30 seconds introduction towards how peer-to-peer financing works. I think the biggest difference between us and a bank is that we do not directly lend to SMEs. So what we do is that we are an intermediary that connects basically SMEs that wants access to financing, typically shorter term and unsecured in nature, to investors. So investors could be individuals like you and me, or it could be institutions, bank and non-bank financial institutions. So what happens is that we are responsible for doing the due diligence and the risk assessment. And once they pass a certain level, it differs across platforms. Then they are made available on the platform. So when I say platform, it's basically the website or mobile app. And then investors who have passed anti-money laundering and know your customer checks, they're able to sort of see whatever investment opportunities and they can invest. So they can invest from as low as 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit, and what have you. So it's really around a platform being the matchmaker between SMEs and investors. So on that note, we do not make the lending decisions per se, right? We facilitate the whole transactions as well as the repayments and collections thereon. So that's how we work as a business model. And I think a lot of the platforms here accept applications either from a direct manner or an indirect manner. So a direct manner is basically you either go to your mobile app or you go to the website and you perform. A lot of the requirements are actually very much streamlined and simplified compared to a bank. So depending on the platform and the financing that you're after, it could be as simple as just a few months of bank statements and some KYC documents, know your customer documents. So that's one direct way of approaching P2P platforms to get financing. The other way is through an indirect manner. So an indirect manner is whereby you see a lot of peer-to-peer financing platforms like ourselves. We work with e-commerce and B2B and B2C marketplace. So we work with Lazada and what have you. And what we do there is basically we work with those platforms and to sort of give access to financing to merchants on these B2B or B2C marketplaces, leveraging on alternative data sets with consent. So from these partnerships, we are able to sort of streamline and simplify the whole application and the access to financing for these non-traditional online businesses. So that's an indirect channel that SMEs can try to approach peer-to-peer financing platforms for financing. Generally, you will see that in terms of financing structure, a lot of them are typically in the 100,000 ringgit, 200,000 ringgit range in terms of average financing quantum. In terms of tenor, it differs significantly. So depending on financing product, it could be up to say 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. If it's a term financing product, so equal installments of principal plus interest, or there is payables financing or receivables financing. So that basically goes back to the credit of the particular invoices or purchase orders, right? So 3 months, 4 months is the natural credit terms that you have on that. Most of them are unsecured. So a lot of, compared to banks, if you want to sort of buy a new piece of land, develop a new warehouse and what have you, typically you will go to a bank because you can pledge your collateral and then it's long term, right, in terms of assets. And you match your cash inflow versus your cash outflow from loan repayments. So SMEs, P2P finance platforms on the other hand focus on the other end of the spectrum in terms of smaller financing amounts, unsecured, leverages on digital and alternative data sets.
So let's say, Ameng, that I have a customer who owes me about 60,000 ringgit. And I know that they are also going through a fair amount of pain because of COVID. Is there a way I can take my invoice, bring it to you, get it discounted? Is that going to be with recourse, without recourse? How can I make sure that I can get that money as soon as possible so that I can run my operation and wait for my customer to get better and pay me the money later? How does it work?
Yeah. So I think for receivables financing, there are a number of platforms that do it, including ourselves, funding societies. And what you need to do is basically just come to us with basic. So in addition to, so for invoice financing specifically, in addition to information about the company, right? So in addition to just say the bank statements and financials and what have you of that company, it depends, the financing documentation requirements depend on the financing quantum because we need to have the right level of due diligence and rigor to protect investors. But once, in addition to that, basically we need to look at the historical relationships, business relationships, payment transaction track records between the SME as well as the invoice debtor. And that will basically form a big part of our analysis in terms of how comfortable we are with this invoice. So a lot of financing platforms, B2B financing platforms, will focus on existing relationships, 6 months or more, between the SME and invoice debtor. And that is the other component of the whole application and due diligence process. Most of the platforms that B2B financing platforms have a much shorter turnaround time. So for us, for example, our turnaround is around 2 weeks from the date of the application of submissions, the date of submission until the date of disbursement. So this includes the whole sort of approval and crowdfunding and disbursement processes. I think the key thing to take note is basically that to make sure that all the documentations are in order. So I think for SMEs that operate in an offline manner, that might be a bit of a challenge. And I think maybe just another plug to sort of use this to sort of push SMEs to sort of reinvent the way that they manage their processes, right? So everything's digital and online. And then that would actually help in terms of the turnaround times for these things. But I think a lot of the B2B financing platforms are typically having that sort of turnaround times within 1 or 2 weeks.
And you also end up paying for suppliers' invoices. If there is a coffee machine that I need to buy, which is a capex for me, you will be able to pay for all of them?
Correct. So that's the
similar process. Similar process, I guess.
Yeah, correct. So you'll be a similar process. So not just the sales invoices, but also the purchase orders, more upstream. Yeah.
And capex, very good. So that means that if I have an issue, but you don't do it without recourse. You must be having it with recourse. Obviously, you can so that you can go back to the owner for collecting the money.
So for invoice financing, it differs. Some comes with recourse and some without. So
right, okay.
Without recourse, so it's a non-notified structure, as most of the financial industry would know it as. So for a non-notified structure, that would be factored in as part of the whole assessment process, whereby it is essentially an unsecured financing. But the fact that there is historical relationships and transactions make us more comfortable, or the P2P financing platforms more comfortable with financing that transaction.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's pretty comprehensive. Elaine, from your perspective, so when do I come to you as an SME entrepreneur, and I know when to go to Kameng or Matthew, for example. So when do I come to you? What are the criteria that you look at? How do you differentiate yourself vis-a-vis the P2P guys?
Yeah. Okay. So for us, it's very straightforward because equity and debt is very, very different, right? So, and typically businesses who are raising funds for expansion and growth will tend to opt for equity fundraising channel. Okay, so basically in exchange for shares for their company, they will then raise the money. Okay, and for us, we are looking at anywhere up to 10 million ringgit. Okay, that is the recently amended guidelines from the SC. It used to be 5 million ringgit in total a company can raise through equity crowdfunding. They've just amended the guidelines a few weeks ago, and it is now 10 million ringgit. So what this means is that larger SMEs can also opt for equity crowdfunding as a potential alternative fundraising channel. So previously we've had the bigger SMEs, you know, who were looking at ECF, but then they thought, oh, it's 5 million is too small for them. Yeah. So that the opportunity is there. So we can like cast the net wider. So companies who are looking for like a bridging financing, or invoice financing, project financing, or short-term financing will tend to go for P2P, yeah, rather than ECF. And also because the turnaround time for ECF is slightly long, well, a bit more longer compared to P2P financing. And what we look for in terms of documentation is there's two parts really, and I just would like to echo what Kameng and Matthew were saying as well, that we don't provide funds. We are an intermediary. Anyone can be an investor. In Malaysia, retail, sophisticated, angel, anybody can really be an investor. And no one platform owns any investors. So investors can invest anywhere, yeah? But when a company fundraises, it has to stick to just one platform at one time, Okay, so for us, there's two parts of the application process. So you have the statutory part, which is your SSM documents. You must be a registered business in Malaysia. You must be either a private limited company or a Sdn Berhad, or a limited liability partnership company or PLT, yeah, registered in Malaysia. Your paid up capital cannot be more than 10 million ringgit. You cannot be a subsidiary of a public listed company, yeah. And if you're more than a year-old company, your audited accounts must be in order, as well as your latest management accounts. And if you want to raise more than 500,000 ringgit, if you are less than a year-old company, you need to do a special audit on your management accounts. Okay. And other than that, what's very important is that you must have a 3-year business plan in place with a corresponding 3-year financial projections. And these 3-year financial projections would include a P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. Yeah. So all that has to be in order. We do a screening on that. And specific for ATA Plus, like I mentioned earlier, our screening process, subject to submission of full documentation, is 5 working days. It used to be 15 working days, but because we see the urgency of the current situation now, it is now 5 working days. All right. That is, and also subject to payment of the processing fee, of course. Yeah. And once everything is cleared out from the processing perspective, then the next part is really onto how do you pitch your investment proposition to the investors. So this is where the content is very important, from your pitch deck to your term sheet, your terms of offer, and also to your pitch video, because not everyone is going to meet you. And especially now, in this present scenario. So we do a lot of virtual or online pitching sessions, and which we find it much more effective actually. So previously when we used to do like face-to-face pitching sessions, the turnout is not that great, but the turnout from the online and virtual sessions is very, very good. You know, it ranges from anywhere from 50 to 100 people or more, yeah, depending on the timing and as well as the regularity of it. The challenge, I think, with equity crowdfunding is, again, the investment appetite. So whether the investors would like your business or not. So it is up to you how you want to package your story and package your offer and how you sell it. So, so a lot of people ask me, okay, what's the key success factor, right? It does not just boil down to just one success factor, it's a combination. So it is from the attractiveness of your business, the market potential, the entry point of your investment, you know, and it also depends on your strategy. If your strategy is to look at acquiring retail investors so that these investors can also become your consumer of your products, then, you know, then you can price it at a very cheap entry point. It could be like 500 ringgit or 1,000 ringgit. But if your strategy is you just want sophisticated investors, then you push it up to say 10,000 or 5,000 or 20,000, okay? The other thing is also, you know, in terms of you want to throw in rewards or even the exit point. If the companies are very confident of giving, you know, giving out dividends, then in the interim until you have the main exit, then you can actually, you know, issue out dividends to your investors. The exit story is also important because at the end of the day, investors want to make money, right? They want to work the investment. So what's in it for me? How big will my exit be? Whether is it going to be IPO? Is it going to be a trade sale? And so on and so forth.
Oh, very good.
I just want to add on, sorry, I forgot one thing. So, and the government is also now co-investing, excuse me, with the public, yeah, with the crowd. So it is under a program called Malaysia Co-Investment Fund, or MyCIF. And under this program, for every 4 ringgit, the public or the crowd invests, the government will match with a ringgit amount. Okay, so if a company has raised 400,000, automatically the government will match 100,000 ringgit. Yeah. So, but what has happened is, excuse me, through our association, excuse me, to the association, we have applied to the government and said that let's give a much more attractive ratio to address COVID-19 situation. And the government is now very much kindly reviewed and revised the ratio from 4:1 to 2:1 for 6 months. So beginning 3rd of April until 30th of September. So the matching ratio is from 2 ringgit to 1 ringgit matching fund. So for every, say, if the crowd puts in 200,000, the government will come in with 100,000 ringgit. Yeah. So do apply and do take advantage of this current offer by the government. Yeah.
Elaine, one quick question. How do you value the companies? That's one, you know, like that's a big issue anyway, for that matter. Do you help in terms of making sure that the valuation is fair to both sides of the fence? It can't be just either in favor of the entrepreneur or in favor of the investor. So what do you do to, and similarly, from a governance perspective, are you making sure that somebody is sitting in the board from your perspective or whatever it is, so that the money that has been invested is going for the right purpose and not anything else? So how do you manage that?
Yeah, I think it's very important to note here that we are just an intermediary. We cannot play a role at all in terms of whether valuation, any advisory role is prohibited. It is clearly mentioned in the guidelines. Yeah. Yeah. So that's number one. So your question on valuation, we cannot participate, but we do give inputs on our views. It is really up to them whether the companies want to accept our inputs or not. You know, we counsel them, put it that way. Yeah. And we will, and of course, you know, what you find that especially for startup businesses, and this is very typical, they would always tend to value their business high. Yeah. Yes. But what we do is we'll also show them case studies, comparison to show that, you know, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. And the other thing is whether there is a basis of support to their valuation. Very, very important. You know, they cannot just pull some numbers out from the sky. Yeah. So it has to be supported by a clear basis of some sort of either mathematical calculation or a comparative analysis or whatever not. You know, you must have a basis of your valuation. And the other thing is in terms of governance. So what we do put in place in terms of is reporting, especially with the micro investment fund now being available. So there is a regular reporting required, and this is part of the investment agreement, whereby they have to do at least twice a year report or quarterly reporting, and there's a clear structure in terms of the reporting. Yeah. So so we don't sit on the board or do policing for that matter, but we do oversee. There's some sort of oversight that we actually play a role, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay, very good. That's clear. Now, Matthew, if I am an entrepreneur, right, I have a choice of coming to P2P or to Elaine. When do I go to you? When do I go to her? And what is your advice to entrepreneurs?
I think for this current situation, it's quite unique, I think, to everyone. So for P2P, I think make sure that your businesses, at least you're having a decent cash flow to some extent. So, you know, because you must keep in mind that this is debt-based financing, whereas Elaine is actually welcoming from startups all the way to established companies because they're equity-based. So basically you're looking to invest in these companies, and these companies will make a return once they exit, as she's correctly mentioned already. So that's something we need to keep in mind. I mean, are you looking at it from, I'm looking to grow and now I just need, I don't mind having an equity partner in, and then I move forward, or I just need some working capital and I know I can afford this working capital, because we also need to be a responsible platform, because we can't just simply allow our investors to take on too many high risk individuals or companies. We've got to be as Kaming already rightly mentioned, the KYC bit, so that's the main thing we need to just figure out. Are you willing to go debt-based or are you willing to go equity-based? So that's in essence what it is.
In your case, they're not diluting the company, but in the case of ECF, obviously, there will be a certain element of dilution.
That's right.
Some part of the company to somebody else, so that when there is an exit, they can make the money and move.
Exactly.
Any other comments coming from your perspective?
Okay, I think maybe to add on, it doesn't have to be an either-or situation. It could
be both here.
Both. And I think the easy way, as I think Elaine was mentioning earlier in the comment, was basically whether the funding is used for sort of growth purposes, right? So capex and what have you, expansion, R&D, and what have you, product augmentation, and et cetera, et cetera. And there's the other way to think about this from a sort of bridging perspective, right? So if all you have to do is bridge sort of your cash flow over periods of time, and that's where you can consider debt instead. Likely, if you are a younger vintage company, you probably need sort of funding support from these two. So for one, basically to do more R&D for product augmentation, market expansion, or what have you. On the other hand, that some of the payments in this current day and age may not be so forthcoming, right? So maybe you would have to sell on credit terms, for example. And then that's where the whole bridging need comes into the picture. So it could be a combination between equity as well as debt.
Okay, let's round it up, maybe. I think we've got a lot of information. We need to leave some for question and answer and all that stuff. Now, if I am an entrepreneur sitting as a part of an SME space, what are the 3 or 4 advice that you would give? It's a kind of a summary of what you said all the while. It might be worthwhile taking about 2 minutes of each. Say that these are the 4 advice that I would give you, 3 advice that you give you, so that you can be, and it is a tough situation. There's no questions at all. Anybody who is sitting there, even if it's Bill Gates sitting as SME, he will struggle, So it's not a question of, how well I have done all in the past. Now the question is, how am I going to move forward? And a lot of stuff is beyond your control. When can I go and find a vaccine? Is it in your control? The answer is no. So given all the complexities that you have and the uncertainties, what are the 2, 3 advice that you would give to them? So Hisham, why don't you start, if you don't mind?
Sure. I think my advice to the SMEs, first, maybe perhaps fully leverage and utilize on all the financial and non-financial support that's provided by the government. I've been hearing some SMEs, complaining, saying that the process is quite complicated. But at the same time as well, the government has to ensure that the due diligence is all done in its most, highest integrity and transparent manner. But yes, please leverage on the financial supports through the Prihatin initiatives. And second one, I think SMEs will need to start pivoting. They have to reassess their strategic plan. They just have to be creative in the way they're doing sales right now, even more creative in doing marketing, because it's no longer the brick and mortar kind of initiatives at the moment. The micro SMEs in particular, right? I have that passion in the heart of the micro SMEs, because it reaches out to the B40s. This is the time, if you have not, ownerships of smartphones are very high in Malaysia, at about almost 80%. For you to go and move away from the typical usage of Facebook and WhatsApp, make use of Facebook and WhatsApp in different ways in reaching out to your audiences for you to create and increase your cash flow.
Excellent. Thank you. And Matthew, go ahead, please. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. Just to add to what Hizam was saying, we also have an issuer that has a brick and mortar, but also an online business presence now. And for Trendy Bag, she's also our testimonial. And I think that's something which, I think people really need to take that into account. I mean, it's time to, if as and when you could pivot, do try to pivot, if it's possible.
comments from you?
And also, sorry, we provide the microinsurance, and hopefully once we, now that we launched our Islamic financing, we're looking at Takaful as well. So that will be, in her case also, it was her first form of insurance that she's ever received. So the fact that we covered the key person, and that helps to mitigate for the investors that in the event touch wood anything were to happen, at least the capital is protected by the microinsurance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Comment, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think for SMEs, I think it is important to be exploring alternative financing or funding opportunities. So I think very glad for the large number of audiences in today's webinar. So I think that's a good thing to be doing in this current time environment. So not just relying on banks and financial institutions to get funding. So a very interesting statistic, for example, more than 50% of the SMEs that come to our platform and successfully receive financing, more than 50% of them do not have an existing bank loan. So they have a bank account and what have you, but they do not have an existing bank loan. So I think it sort of says to how much the digital financing platforms like peer-to-peer financing and what have you plays in terms of giving access to financing for SMEs in this country. So I think for SMEs is to be open to venture out to these alternative financing platforms in order to get financing. I think the other one is perhaps more relevant or more specific to SMEs themselves is to, in addition to sort of reaching out to suppliers to prolong credit terms, you're trying to prolong your rental payments or discounted rental payments and all those tactical items. I think, and also going digital in terms of their business models and what have you. I think it's also very important to sort of become an entrepreneur again and start to ask and start to observe and ask your customers what do they need at this point in time, and whether the assets that you have as a company, the resources, whether it is not just physical assets, but also competencies and capabilities that you have are able to sort of meet those new emerging needs, and hence be able to sort of diversify or add additional revenue streams that you can sort of hopefully bank on to sort of tide you over and potentially form a big revenue stream for you in the future as well. So I think that's something to sort of ponder upon and think about, because I suppose the way that your customers and the needs of your customers would evolve coming out of the crisis, depending on industry. And it's therefore important to sort of use this opportunity to really investigate those things.
Okay. Elaine, any final comments from you before we go get into Q&A? 2 questions maybe. We're running out of time, I guess.
Okay. No, I think not much from me. I think everyone has taken all the points across. But I think I would like to. I think somebody mentioned earlier. I think it was Coming said that. I think what you will see is out of this COVID-19 situation, you will see a lot more stronger SMEs and SMIs. They will come out more resilient. You will find that they will become innovative, much more innovative. And everyone, I think, is forced to take on the digital route. I mean, even the government, right? So, I think I just had a conversation with very high-ranking official last night, and I was saying that, looking at this, this is what we've been talking about 20 years ago, about e-government, about smart school. I mean, this is it, you see. And I think it was all about timing, it was way too early those days, but now you can't do without it. And thank God for broadband. If COVID-19 had happened 5 years ago, I think, I don't know what would happen to all of us. We won't be able to do this. And I think the economy would have really collapsed, seriously, So thank God for how much we we embraced and adopted digitization from across the board, from the government, private sector, public sector, and especially mobile technology. Mobile technology is, I would say, godsend, in a way. Yeah. So, and I think we will see a lot more developments in this space, and the new norm is going to be the norm. It's no more new norm. I think in 12 months' time, you will see that people are much more comfortable meetings online. Even now, you know, you just realize how much time you waste. Of course, you knew you waste a lot of time on the road, but you just realize how much time you waste at the office.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So it is the new world, really. It is the new world.
Thank you. Thank you. This is pretty good, actually. You summarized it all well. Essentially, I'll take about 2 minutes maybe to close it. I think the concept around digitization comes time and again, time and again, time and again. But, you know, to me, we can all come out of this a lot more successful by looking at about 4 blocks. One is about leadership. You know, this may sound a little cliche, but this is a time for us to be optimistic. Optimistic is a foundation for courage and progress. And I think we should be able to do well, stay, you know, all the problems associated with it, but if you're confident that you'll be coming around it, you will come around it. The second piece that we also need to be careful and mindful is around strategic business planning as well as scenario planning. You know, what if the supplier does not exist? What if my customer is not going to pay the money? So some form of scenario planning, the best case, worst case, realistic case, that needs to be sort of done every week, every day, every whatever. And so that we are prepared when an unforeseen circumstances happen. So I think accelerating digital adoption, stress test, you know, stress tests we normally do only for large banks. And now I'm saying that even for SMEs, we need to do some stress tests. So if you need to move away from current business to doing something else, and a lot of people have done it, right? A lot of people have done it. Even airlines, for example, are saying that look, the business, they're not saying business is dead. They will do other things to go and drive their businesses, like cleaning up, using ultraviolence, whatever it is. The third block is around proactive engagement. Engage with your employees, engage with your suppliers, engage with your customers. It's important. You need to know whether they're going to be there or not. And fourthly, which is the last piece, which is important, which is called creation of a cash conservation committee. Cash is king, as Sri said earlier on. And again, you know, like whether it's a scenario planning, whether it is looking at every single area, digitization to save money, all that has to be looked at very carefully. And today, the CEO should be sitting as the chairman of the Cash Conservation Committee and keep driving those decisions. Then we can sustain ourselves. And there are multiple alternative ways of going and funding ourselves. We can go to Elaine, we can go to Matthew, we can go to Kamang. And for digitization, go back to MDEC and say that, look, this is where I want to use a blockchain for my lobster. I want to use for my cotton, which where did I get this cotton from? I want to go and use a blockchain. And there's a company that I am helping, a plastic recycling company. Ocean plastic is a big thing. And, you know, for us to provide transparency, there has to be some technology that has to be adopted. So I think huge amounts of opportunities that are available for us. And let's not lose hope. And I think Malaysians are resilient. We will come out stronger. So with that, I'll pass it back to Dilan, MC. Sorry, okay. I think we took a little longer. I apologize.
No, it didn't took little longer. It took quite long, but it's okay. It was quite comprehensive. It's a very difficult discussion, and especially when you have, you know, representative from MDEC, Plus, Funding Societies Malaysia, MicroLEAP, and yourself as well, because you have so much of experience to share. And obviously, this is all a suggestion to the team that we need an encore. That means we need a repeat. We probably need another session for this. And if you agree, just type yes in the comment section. And we cannot actually take any Q&A because we are already running out of time. And the other person who's coming up is already like breathing down my neck. So I would like to thank, see everybody saying yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so thank you, Hizam. Hizam, I'm very interested. Where is this background located? So please do comment later. So where is this background from? Because
it's not in
Malaysia.
A lot of people think that it's Chowkit. It's actually in Osaka.
Oh,
Osaka, thank you.
Very nice.
Because it was just too clean for Malaysia Street. I'm like, what? Don't stay here. So thank you, Hizam from MDEC. Thank you so much, Elaine from Plus, coming from Funding Societies Malaysia, Matthew from MicroLEAP, and our moderator, the ever knowledgeable, the wise Mr. Chari from Axiata Group. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And now,
all right,
stay safe.
Let's quickly jump to the final segment, SME Unplugged Clinic. This clinic will explain on how to overcome COVID-19 impact with digital transformation by our practitioner, Chuan Pek Un First Vice President, Smart Business UOB Malaysia. With over 20 years of professional working experiences in various IT leadership roles, Pek Boon is skilled in the knowledge of ERP, MRP, CRM, POS in the retail, F&B and manufacturing, trading, and also logistic industries. He's currently the first Vice President of UOB Smart Business as part of UOB's Beyond Banking initiatives to help Malaysian SMEs to digitalize their businesses. Pek Boon, over to you, sir.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I believe this is a very challenging time, and COVID-19 is an impact that we are not expecting. So today, what I'll do is I'm going to share more about how to overcome the impact of COVID, my experience, as well as what I can see can move forward SME with a different perspective on how we can overcome this impact of COVID-19. Okay, let me share a PowerPoint presentation. One, yeah.
One second, Pek Boon, yeah. If you could actually just speak a little bit more louder, bring the mic piece like closer to you.
Sure.
Okay, it's better
okay.
now.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm trying to share my screen. Yeah.
Yep, we can see that.
Okay, you can see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Just put the presentation mode and we should be going.
Yeah. I already sent it to presentation. Okay. We got it now.
Cool.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to share on how to overcome COVID-19 impact with digital transformation. UOB has been embarking on this UOB Smart Business initiative to help SME to digitize. This has been going on for two to 3 years. All right. All of us know and feel the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. This is for sure. Anyway, this is only not local. This is global. And the effect is phenomenal. The domino effect, not just on any industry, is every industry. But there always, as what is mentioned, there's a silver lining where the certain industry is affected, but certain industry, especially those who digitize, are actually exploiting on the opportunities. Okay, let's go to the next one. We are under MCO. We know about this. And this is actually teaches a lot of lessons. We are not going to sit down. This is the new norm. We're going to do social distancing. This is something that is going to go on for a period of time. So the thing is that we are not supposed to sit down. We have to exploit and look at opportunities during this period. So how do we do it? We have to use the right business tool to overcome this way of life. The life will never be the same again. Yeah, I believe this is something going on now. Everyone is adjusting according to the way of life. Even I have to tell my wife, please be distant 2 meters away from me whenever I come back from anywhere outside. Are you ready? Let's do it, huh? Okay, let's keep calm for the time being. Let's go back to the basic. Why are we in business? Let's ponder as a business owner, why are we in business? Let's look at it this way. What is our business purpose? Just look at it. Our business purpose is to have profitable passion. We have passion in our business. Let's make it profitable. However, our passion has been faced with challenges. So what are the challenges that we are facing? We are facing with manuals, entries, follow-up, staff management, staff retention, debt management. Anyway, we still have to do the work. And then sometimes after we completed the work with our customers, we can only receive the payment later. These are the predicament and these are the challenges that's faced by SME. This is not something that is during COVID, not during the pandemic. This has been going on. But UOB has already seen this many years ago. That's why UOB is embarking on the digital transformation for SME. So today we're going to share the same pathway on how we're going to overcome this. Let's keep it simple, yeah? Let's look at our business model. We have a product and services, and then we'll do the sales. Eventually, we get the sales. We want to do the delivery, which is this part is the business fulfillment. We want to satisfy a customer in order to maximize our profit. This is the purpose of the whole entire business operation. Let's look at it. Your product need to go to the market. You have the CRM, the customer relationship management. Regardless how you do it, you can do it manually, you can do it WhatsApp, you can do it in many ways. But digital tools will help you to engage customer better and let you view the pipeline better and eventually for you to secure the sales. We still need to satisfy the customer, and in order to increase our revenue and grow our business. But however, we have this challenge, business fulfillment. How do we do it? Yeah? Okay, we need to integrate all the different parts in our business operation. We need to automate, we need to satisfy the customer. And at the same time, we want to cut down the cost, the time, and also increase the accuracy. All this digitalization transformation is not an option. It is the necessity of a business tool that helps you. We know any drivers or any vehicles, the relationship between a car and a driver. The car is the tool, and how you to manage the car to bring you to point A to point B comfortably at the same time at the optimum time of arrival. The safety is also important. That is why we want to emphasize on the business tool. How this business tool can help SME. How do you want to digitize this business tool? Where are you now in your business digitalization? Are you still using PC, desktop? Where are you going to install the software through CD and this diskette? I don't think so, because now we have a lot of solutions. I can tell you, with the birth of Microsoft Office, this is a godsend. Anyone can do anything with Microsoft Office, the Excel, the Word, processing, the PowerPoint, and a lot more. But however, is this the way you want to manage your business? Can Excel do historical transactions? I mean, in terms of traceability, presentation in Excel, very good. PowerPoint as well. You can do a lot, but the thing is that it doesn't have the traceability. Let's look at the software or the application online for bookkeeping, accounting software. Is this enough? But I believe many of you have using a lot of different tools, different applications for your different business operation within your own company. I believe most of you are looking at a solution, ERP solution that will be able to integrate all the modules together. Now, this is the new norm. He cannot run away. So what are we going to do? Working from home? Is this the new norm? Not just that, yeah? We are talking about how to make the new norm as the new business as usual. We need that flexibility, mobility, easy access to your company data via your smartphone or other devices. And how do you going to collaborate with all your staff, with the bosses, the management, and the shareholders? How to share the information, secure information across cloud-based platform? How do we do it? We need digital transformation. How do we want to do sales now? We need to organize a lot of webinars to introduce through digital media, Facebook, even WhatsApp, even e-commerce. And we can actually use webinars to engage customer and perfect the sales lead. And this actually give a cost effectiveness. We don't have to drive to customer anymore. Our customer also need to engage in digitalization. We can't help it. They can't help. They can't help it. So we have to engage with this new norm. We can do personal tutoring sessions, applications, even on how to operate a certain machineries. We learn how to cook. I believe during this COVID-19 pandemic period, a lot of you become a better cook. We used to eat it out, but now we cook at home. We actually enjoy our own cooking, the experience of cooking our own meal. Same thing. Digitalization is a method that we need to embrace. We need to do more conference call to reduce expenses, save time. Usually, we need to travel to our customer's place. We will spend probably hours on the road every day. We can translate that into more appointments through digitalization. We know there's a strong demand by SME in Malaysia to digitize. We can see 9 out of 10 are burdened with business admin activities. Why? Because we still use a lot of paper. What we have digitized is only accounting. We have accounting software for SME, but how about proper business tool that is engaging from the customer up to the end of delivery and satisfy your customer? How about tracing the customer satisfaction? These are not in the accounting software. Accounting software or accounting application is just part of the entire business tool. So I'm talking about sharing a solution, an integrated solution from the beginning of engaging customer to the end to satisfy customer and maximize your profit, your revenue growth, and satisfy your customer as well as your shareholder, especially to satisfy yourself, to create the business passion again, which is profitable. Just look at 9 out of 10 SME are interested in bank solution as well. There are also 2 key challenges: improving productivity and managing costs. 3 in 4 believe time can be spent to improve bottom line. As I mentioned, digital transformation will help you to integrate your solution, reduce your time, reduce your cost, increase your accuracy. This is what SME is supposed to look for. So, how do you look for a solution with complete integration? Let me show you. You need to transform your business, how to maximize your potential. The ideal business tool, it has to be cloud. We are looking at AWS as one of the leaders in cloud solution. We need the mobility, secure. The thing is that whenever we have our own solution or so-called our own proprietary or so-called in our own premise solution, we have to create our own infra. And this infra is very expensive. If we have cloud solution, we can actually mitigate a lot of costing and it's better secure, especially with AWS, Amazon Web Services. We also need a solution that's scalable so that as we grow, we can still maintain the same solution, but with a greater deal of dealing with the operation and the volume. Just imagine, I believe a lot of SME have their own accounting software. Remember the time of GST? Everyone is forced to change the solution so that it becomes GST compliance. 3 years later, become SST again. Then everyone got to change again. Why do we have to do that? When we have a cloud solution that will adapt accordingly. Accounting solution in the whole suite of a solution in your business too. As well, not just the business tool, we also need a tool to manage our own human resources. Yes, you have the equipment, you have the hardware, you have a very nice car, but you need a driver. You need someone to manage the whole entire business operation. That's why you also need a tool to manage your human resources. It has to be efficient, where the tools can link up even with the bank or link up to your web or e-commerce platform. And all this, yes, the bottom line is that it needs to be affordable. Okay, let's start with something that is negligible cost. This is what UOB is actually engaging SME to try out with a new solution with a very cost-efficient, affordable solution. I give you a sample. Okay, this is what UOB Smart Business is all about. This is the team that I have. This is the initiative and also the effort that my team putting forward to the SME so that SME were able to enjoy the conversion of the conventional running of business to a more digital transformation platform. This solution is also connected to your business banking accounts. So in a way, it's still very secure. Let's look at it. You need a business operation ecosystem. Yes, in the middle is your accounting, whereby this is where you have your whole entire business performance. We know accounting. Accounting have two reports, very important to every business. One is the profit and loss, which is to show the performance of the company. Secondly is the balance sheet, the wealth and the health of the company. So this is done in accounting. Across this accounting, yes, we need other business too, which is the CRM, the sales management, the service management, which is to engage your customer, to follow up with the customer, to maintain the satisfaction in order to maximize your profit, and how to manage your expenses. And of course, we are talking about how this solution actually integrate with the rest of the external solution. This is what UOB Smart Business is embarked on. Integrated mobility. We have our devices in our fingertips, in our hands. Let me tell you one of my experience. I was driving on the way to Malacca. to meet up with a customer. Upon reaching Seremban, actually I passed Seremban, I realized my phone is not with me. What can I do? Should I turn back? Or should I have to go all the way to Malacca? I have an appointment to keep, no choice. I have to go all the way to Malacca. I meet up with the customer, engage the customer, but the whole day, I'm feeling very uncomfortable because my phone is not with me. And I've been thinking about the phone more than my loved ones, my wife. So the phone is now very close to everybody. Even your own notebook, your tablet, these are all very close to you. So the solution have to be a smartphone based, your tablet based, or a web based. Enterprise, this is a solution that UOB are collaborating with. Enterprise is based on SAP B1. So we're going to make enterprise as the core solution for your business. So it's going to be all in a day's work. Everything will come back to enterprise with the dashboard, will show you everything. Let me share with you, what is this solution all about? Your phone in your hand. It will give you the whole transparency of what's going on. The first thing, the phone will help you to manage your day's work, your planning, your scheduling, who to meet, who are the customer, how can I engage my customer as well, on how to get my staff and manage them through the phone, everything in your hand. CRM module, it helps you to manage your customer. If you can't manage the customer in your hand, you can still pass it to your salesperson. How many of you know exactly what your salesperson doing? What is our schedule? What is their activities? Who are they meeting? Yes, this CRM is not to penalize your salesperson, but to get them to engage customer more effectively. Salesperson is a very different breed of person. They can perform whenever they want. But if for those salesperson who are fantastic, expert salesperson, we want to engage them. We want to know how they engage the customer, their activities. We can see it through the CRM. Activities all in your fingertips. The sales module, you can engage the customer immediately from the phone. Create a quotation and order sales pipeline leads in managed through the phone. And of course, the web-based will show you the details. As you can see, it's very much like Excel. This is practically whereby the solution is very much integrated to Microsoft Excel. I always tell my customer, Microsoft Excel is godsend. We can't do without it. When you use this solution, yes, you still continue to use Microsoft Excel. Expenses, just imagine how much time the salesperson spent just to make claims to their expenses. Whereas with this one, they just record end of the month or end of the week, they can get their claims. So easy. Services. Services is whereby you engage and follow up with the customer with the details. Example, elevators, contractors, they need services, aircons, CCTVs, those service providers. This is another module will help them to engage the customer. Service call, as you can see, the dashboard for the technician. Technician don't have to come back to the office to get the job sheet anymore. So the job sheet immediately go into the mobile app. The technician will just need to go to the site as per appointed in the app. So easy. This is a sample. As well as delivery. For those who are doing trading, this is another app that is actually provide the delivery services. And the nice thing is that as you key in the customer profile, the customer address, it will log in into the Google Map. You don't have to pinpoint it on the Google Map. All you need to do, key in the address. And then when you come to delivery, the lorry driver will know what they need to deliver and will create a route, efficient route. And it relates and integrate with Google Map. And this one will bring the lorry driver specifically to the site. So you don't have to WhatsApp separately the location. And then once they deliver, you don't know when the DO going to come back, because once this is delivered, the lorry driver will just need to click deliver. Means the DO is created automatically and fulfilled. Of course, end of the day, there are so many other solutions that UOB SmartBiz is offering. Okay, and to manage your staff, we have as well a HR solution for SME, which is simple. Everything is also still go through the mobile app. It's simple and it's also equipped with facial recognitions. Integrate to the banking, whereby you can disperse the salary to the bank, and as well as the claims. You can make it weekly, daily, monthly. It's up to you. So for more information on this sharing, you can just visit our site, uob.my/SB. SB stand for Smart Business. Contact us. This is our number. And this is the site. You can email to us. All right. You can just go to uob.com.my. I will share the link to you shortly. Okay. We also do collaboration with FinLab. Just give me a second, yeah. Any questions so far?
Yep, we are going to be looking at any questions we've collected. Yep, we have a couple of questions over here, Pekun.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that you will be, use cloud computing from AWS. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bank Negara require banks doing cloud services to have the data centers to be in country in Malaysia.
Okay.
Do you have problems providing cloud offerings in Malaysia for those working from home?
Okay, just let me explain. This solution, Smart Business is a business tool for SME, whereby it doesn't link to the bank solution, but this solution stands on its own for the business. It's very secure, very private. It's a collaboration between UOB and this Smart Business solution partners. Example, SAP. All right, you still acquire SAP, but there are certain links to make things more efficient to your banking, but it never a direct link. Okay, in a sense that it doesn't go into your banking system. It just populate a certain information as a dashboard. At the same time, your bank statement can be populated in your account, in your accounting statements for you to do bank console. All right. So the solution will still stand in AWS. It's not in the banking system. It's under SAP.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Otherwise, I will
yes,
share on the
we're going to Yeah, before you can actually share, we have one last question, then you probably can share with the FinLab content, and then we can wrap it up as we already, stretched to time. So the last question from the audience is that you mentioned a need for ERP solutions. Is UOB looking into using blockchain technology for secured supply chains for their SME clients?
Okay, this is, I don't think this is related to the sharing that I'm in right now. Okay, my sharing is more to the business too. Of course, if you're talking about blockchain, it's about traceability. This business too include traceability on every transaction that you put in. Okay.
Okay, understood. Now, perhaps you would like to just share with the FinLab and do the wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you, Vikram.
All right, thank you. I'll continue. FinLab, this FinLab Zoom Transform, catalyst for digital transformation for SME is actually a collaboration with UOB's SmartBiz. Okay, whereby UOB Smart Business is just one of the many digital solutions offered by the FinLab, and innovation accelerator under UOB to help local business digitize their operation to drive productivity and revenue growth. Business can also leverage on the expertise of UOB tax ecosystem to develop muscles to compete in the new landscape, especially in this pandemic. So FinLab is doing the initiative to engage SME to digitize. In the light of this pandemic, we see more business want to digitize, but how? You can come forward to us and approach us, Smart Business, as well as FinLab. We will actually bring you through a series of sessions whereby you will understand that it's actually not complicated, it's very simple. The whole solution is actually, as I say, in your hand, at your fingertips. Okay. Okay, this is the Zoom Transform in Malaysia. The FinLab is an accelerator by UOB. We catalyze business to grow in Asia, and from tech startup to small SME, through our community and network of mentors, partners, and tech solutions. Whereby this is a collaboration, as you can see, our partners, and these are features in all or most of the major newspaper. FinLab is creating an online community. This community actually helps in focusing the business building. We call it the FinLab Online, where UOB and FinLab will continue to provide guidance, resources, and mentorship to support our customer business transformation via digital. The focus is still very much on digital transformation. This also reaffirms UOB commitment to help Malaysia business to digitize their business to continue growth and productivity. Furthermore, it is important for UOB to hear the grosses or the plight or the challenges that businesses have, and we are committed to support them in this time of crisis through financing and beyond banking offering. Amid the COVID, outlets and social distancing, most of the contents and activities, be it bookshop tax selections, matching, tax pilot, and implementation at the moment, everything will be online. That's why we are doing this FinLab online community. The community is not just the SME, but also mentor, and also speaker to share the how to overcome this COVID-19. As you can see, our tagline is based on CAN, SME can do it, we can do it. So C stands for can. A, we have a lot of activities online. And of course, after we can actually do group sessions together, there will be even more activities or workshop events. And also there are a lot of other digital programs. And the network is with government agency, startup, domain experts, institute or higher learning, as well as industry leaders as mentors. Finally, this is what we are looking at. That is, we are inviting you to join this FinLab community. You can just log in to this FinLab community. Yeah. This is
all right. Thank you.
You can just click this. And again, we want to thank you, MDEC, for inviting us for these sessions so that we can share to every one of you. And again, this information for UOB Smart Business. You can click in, as you can see, go to the website www.uob.my/sb. All right. Contact us, or you can email directly to us. So we're going to end this. Any questions?
I believe questions were already picked up earlier, Pekbun, so we are going to wrap it up right now real quick. So thank you so much. That was Chong Pekbun, First Vice President, Smart Business UOB Malaysia. And yes, we are very thankful to MDEC and Word Labs Business Network for starting this initiative. So now, ladies and gentlemen, now before we move on to the closing remarks, I just would like to get everyone's attention as we're going to be, starting the poll right over here. It's very simple. Just answer these two questions. How was today's session? Rated 1 to 5. If you put 5 being most helpful, that will really be, booming or basically boosting my, my incentive or basically my points. Thank you so much. So I'm going to put for myself 5. Would you recommend this webinar service to your contacts? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So now, before I actually wrap up, I just want to get everyone's attention that if you can see the last comment, thank you so much. If you can see the last comment from Zalila, that is actually pertaining the 100 Go Digital community. So you can actually get tips, quick wins from the link. You will get all the access very fast. And if you are on Facebook, if you're very active on Facebook, you can also join the 100 Go Digital community on Facebook as well. You can learn a lot of things. To those who have not joined, I believe this is really important because I have joined as well, and you need to join for all the information on MDEC's, because MDEC is like a bridge. It's basically bridging everybody together. So Zalina's digital link over there, so the digital quick wins is right over there. So make sure you click on that. So thank you so much for the polls, and to those who logged in from Zoom or from Facebook. And if you're watching this, still watching this at 12, I know, we actually stretched to 30 minutes today because there was so much of discussion. It's not a very easy content. Cash flow is very technical, very critical to us. So thank you so much. You matter the most, as without you, this is impossible. So thank you so much. Now, about next week, our segment will be on 19th of May as we discuss on SMEs, how to actually tap into e-commerce to boost your sales. So that will be the segment next week, which will be focusing more into the e-commerce area and how to actually boost your sales. And so till then, be safe, stay safe. We will get through this together. My name is Bali Dylan, signing off from episode number 3, SME Unplugged 100 Go Digital, brought to you by MDEC and Word Labs Business Network. Thank you. Bye-bye.